folks, this is Mr. TARDIS, and today we're going to be talking about the latest Big Finish Doctor Who Lost Stories. This one is a 7th Doctor story that was commissioned in the late 1980s but fell through when the show was cancelled in 1989. Basically, when Andrew Cartmel took over as script editor for Doctor Who, he put together some workshops where some young up-and-coming writers would come together to pitch ideas for Doctor Who stories, to brainstorm some ideas, and some of these ideas that did end up getting commissioned. This is how they found writers such as Ben Aronovich, who gave us Remembrance of the Daleks. And one of these writers was Robin Mukherjee, who wrote stage plays at the time. He would later go on to work on shows like The Bill, Casualty, Medics, etc. But before all of that, he pitched this idea to Andrew Cartmel for a 7th Doctor story, where the 7th Doctor would be investigating strange goings-on at a resort. And Andrew Cartmel liked the idea so much, he liked Robin Mukherjee so much, that he commissioned the idea from a single-page layout. It would become a 3-part story, and also it would have possibly been the final story for Sylvester McCoy's 7th Doctor. This could have been the actual regeneration story as opposed to the TV movie in 1996. However, the show was cancelled in late 1989 at the end of season 26, so this potential season 27 finale never got made. Fast forward to 2025 and Big Finish have brought Robin Mukherjee on board to expand his idea from a single page outline that would have been a 3-episode story to now a full-cast audio drama, and these 4 parts as well, they're pretty long. Parts 1 and 3 almost clock in at 40 minutes each. So the plot has the 7th Doctor, played by Sylvester McCoy, and his companion Ace, played by Sophie Aldred. They just had a particularly stressful and very yucky adventure, so the Doctor decides to take Ace away on a proper holiday for some rest and relaxation. However, they're not there for very long until they discover something sinister afoot. There's this strange cordial drink that all of the guests are partaking in, and they meet Larkin, played by John Edgley Bond, who is searching for his missing daughter who went missing at the resort. And the resort itself is also slightly telepathic. It's able to use your memories and your experiences to craft bespoke experiences and bespoke accommodations for you. For example, Ace's bedroom is made to look up like her Auntie Clarissa's room, a room which she grew up in. But with people going missing in this psychic resort, you can also hear the scratching and scurrying of beetle-like creatures behind the walls at night, which naturally intrigues the 7th Doctor and Ace, and this takes us down an almost existential story where the Doctor and Ace are being attacked mentally on all sides from experiences of their past and their potential futures.
I don't know, Mr.
Larkin.
Mr. Larkin. We just came here for a bit of R&R.
R&R?
Rest and recreation, but...
So, I'm very sorry, we really can't help you at this time.
Doctor? Oh, look, sorry, but I think the Doctor and me need a little word.
My little word is no.
What's the matter with you? R&R? That was a joke, wasn't it? I mean, since when have you ever walked off or just...
I think we've had enough trouble recently.
What's enough trouble? Seriously? His daughter is missing. He's asked for help. It's not even much. Just...
Keeping watch for a few minutes.
We've done worse. Come on.
And how do you know she's not just happily staying here, maybe working somewhere, doesn't want to hear from you, doesn't want to go home?
Well, she called me a month ago. I recorded it.
Daddy, there. I don't...
Belle, is that you? Isabel? Talk to me. Speak to me, please.
I don't want to dismiss Elixion, because it's clearly a big passion project for Robin Mukherjee, and I love how open he has been about the whole process in the behind-the-scenes interviews for Big Finish, but also in a really great interview in Doctor Who magazine. I think it's great that he's been able to throw himself into this passion project that has been decades in the making, and that he was able to expand what was a 1-page outline for a 3-part story into a fully realised audio drama for 4 parts, and also where budget really is no limitation. there's some ideas and some concepts here that would have been pretty fun to see the BBC try and, you know, cobble together these shaky sets and these strange beetle creatures, and also what would have they done about all these mindscapes and these dream environments that the Doctor and Ace find themselves inhabiting. But for me personally, I think that Elixion was a little bit too abstract for my taste, because it transitions from dreamscape to dreamscape and the Doctor and Ace are separated for most of the story. It's kind of difficult to get a concrete sense of place in Elixion. Like, I don't really know where people are half of the time, or who they're interacting with, or honestly what's going on. I also think there is some fat you can trim here. Like I said, it's a 4-parter, and you know, that's sort of the secret formula for Doctor Who stories. 4 parts, a 90 to 100 minute story, that's the great length for it. However, Elixion, with its incredibly elongated parts, it's nearly 2.5 hours long. It felt like there was absolutely some fat you could have trimmed here. Ace spends about half an episode trying to become a mental beetle. I swear that makes sense in context. And I think Elixion at its heart has some beautiful sentiments about it, about taking away the good and the bad memories of your life, and that's what makes you whole, and how your mind can run away and extrapolate the worst moments of your life, which were, realistically, in the grand scheme of things, speed bumps are not nearly as bad as you thought they were. There's some really interesting, what it looks like from the beginning to be retcons on Ace's past. But honestly, it feels like the character arcs and some of the biggest and best moments from Elixion are walking in the shadow of other Doctor Who stories, and not just broader media like Inception or Doctor Who classics like Mind Warp, but it's the 7th Doctor's era specifically that it feels like it's in the shadow of. The setting is very Paradise Towers, the moral of the story is very Happiness Patrol. Even Ace's journey feels very reminiscent of the Curse of Fenric and Survival, and in the behind the scenes interviews when Robin Mukherjee says that the 7th Doctor was his Doctor, yeah, I believe him, because it feels like he's taken the 7th Doctor's greatest hits and sort of compiled them together in Elixion. There's even a scene here where the 7th Doctor talks to an Asian shopkeeper about crisps, which feels very reminiscent of the 7th Doctor talking with a black cafe worker in Remembrance of the Daleks about sugar in his tea. Like, yeah, these are really great scenes, but I've watched them before, you know? However, Elixion does still have some strong character work in here. For example, I really like how Ace is the one who wants to get involved and help Larkin find his missing daughter, as opposed to the Doctor tricking his companion into another adventure. I also really love the way how Sylvester McCoy plays the Doctor in this story, particularly when he's separated from Ace and is navigating the dreamscapes, and the softer cadence and just the softer way of speaking that he has in this environment. I thought it was a really great performance. Like, it reads as this much more internal dialogue exchange with the 7th Doctor, which is a lot more subdued and methodical. In the 1980s, Robin Mukherjee's script was based on the audition tape that Sylvester McCoy did for the role of the 7th Doctor, which was a lot more thoughtful and contemplative incarnation. Someone who's actively looking at his past and trying to think of the impact he's made on the universe. You know, in the audition tape he says 7 lifetimes battling evil. Like, he's thinking about this. This is on his mind in the audition. And it's great that that's been transposed into Elixion. But despite some great performances and strong character work, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that Elixion is just a lot of wandering around in this hive. At one point, a character calls them catacombs of confusion, and I can't help but agree. Also, minor spoilers, there is no alternative regeneration for the 7th Doctor in Elixion. That doesn't happen here. This is not a what-if alternative unbound timeline type of story. In fact, on the contrary, while Elixion in the 1980s was meant to be the 7th Doctor's finale story, and Ace probably wouldn't even have been in it because she probably would have left halfway through the series and we would have had the cat burglar companion, this Big Finish Lost Stories adaptation of Elixion takes place very early in the 7th Doctor and Ace's friendship, like early to mid season 25, and that is a different dynamic with the 7th Doctor and Ace than we do get in season 26. I am very glad and genuinely really chuffed and happy that Robin Mukherjee was able to get his passion project over the finish line, but for me, I just didn't really engage with it that much. It's a very interesting what if, like what would this season 27 story have been for Doctor Who in the early 1990s, and I genuinely would love to see Robin Mukherjee write again for Doctor Who or Big Finish, but for Elixion, I struggle to recommend it, but I do genuinely want to hear what you folks think about this. This could be someone's favourite 7th Doctor story, because maybe they love the experimental and abstract and dreamscapes and contemplative ideas and stuff. I'm not against those ideas, because in this particular form where it was significantly dragged out over very elongated episodes, I just found it a bit of a struggle to listen to. It almost feels like a cordial drink where you've got this concentrated syrup of the best aspects of the Seventh Doctor, but it's been heavily diluted in a 2-hour story. But anyway, what did you folks think of Doctor Who Elixion, the latest in the Doctor Who Lost Stories range from Big Finish? Let me know in the comment section below, and also subscribe for more Doctor Who Big Finish reviews, and I'll see you all next time.